You want to start a new habit. You want to get rid of a bad habit, but you always fail. You always come back to the same stage, and you always start to beat yourself down and repeat the same loop over and over again. And that feels horrible. Trust me, I've been there. But the good thing is that you didn't give up, and that is the first step to doing anything. Once we've established that, now we need to build a system to make these habits as automatic as possible, because you don't really think about them, you just do them. You don't really think about brushing your teeth. It's part of your identity, and we need to get to this level with every habit you want to build, because when your behavior and your identity are fully aligned, you are no longer pursuing behavior change. You are simply acting like the type of person you already believe yourself to be. So how do you get that result? By following these 4 steps that I'm about to tell you, and also by repetition, because each habit not only gets immediate results but also teaches you something far more important: to trust yourself. And before starting the system, we need to understand how habits work. The process of building a habit is divided into 4 simple steps: 1. Cue, 2. Craving, 3. Response, and 4. Reward. The cue is about noticing the reward. The craving is about wanting the reward. The response is about obtaining the reward. And the purpose of the reward is to satisfy the craving. So we come to the conclusion that a habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. Now we understand what habits are. What is that system? The system is a set of rules we can use to build better habits. It's called 4 laws of behavior change, and they are: 1. Make it obvious. 2. Make it attractive. 3. Make it easy. 4. Make it satisfying. The first law: make it obvious. A good way to make habit obvious is the habit scorecard. This Japanese railway system is regarded as one of the best in the world. If you find yourself riding a train in Tokyo, you will notice that the conductors have a peculiar habit. As each operator runs the train, they proceed through a ritual of pointing at different objects and calling out commands. For example, when the train approaches a signal, the operator will point at it and say, "Signal is green," and other employees are performing similar actions. Every detail is identified, pointed at, and named aloud. This process, known as pointing and calling, is a safety system designed to reduce mistakes. This seems silly, but it works incredibly well. It reduces errors by up to 85% and cuts accident by 30%. It raises the level of awareness from a non-conscious habit to a more conscious level. The more automatic a behavior becomes, the less likely we think about it. When we've done something 1,000 times, we begin to overlook things, and our failures in performance are largely attributed to a lack of self-awareness. The habit scorecard is a simple exercise you can use to become more aware of your behavior, and it's just a list of your daily habits. Here is a sample. Once you have a full list, look at each behavior and ask yourself, is this a good habit or a bad habit, or is it neutral? If it's good, write next to it plus. If it's bad, write minus. Neutral, write equal. And if you are having trouble to decide if a habit is good or bad, ask yourself this question: does this behavior help me to become the type of person I wish to be? Creating this habit scorecard is not for change. The goal of this is just to notice what's going on, observe your thoughts and actions without criticism. Now, since we've identified our habits, we can start using something called implementation intention, and it's simply when situation X arises, I will perform Y, and it's effective because it leverages both time and location, the two most common cues. And the best way to use it is by using this formula: I will, behavior, at time, location. For example, and another way to make your new habit obvious is something called habit stacking, and it's very simple. First, you pick a habit that is neutral, you're currently doing, for example, brushing your teeth. And after it, you put your new habit, for example, reading. The formula is: after current habit, I will, new habit. And of course, the inversion, or the first law, is to make it invisible. A good way of doing that is by designing your environment. For example, if you are playing too many video games, unplug the console and put it in the closet after each use. Always remember, it's easier to avoid temptation than resist it. Now, after we've made habit obvious, we need to make it attractive. But we first need to understand, when does dopamine play a role in habits? And the key takeaway is that dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. Cocaine addicts get a surge of dopamine when they see the powder, not after they take it. Whenever you predict that an opportunity will be rewarding, your levels of dopamine spike in anticipation, and when dopamine arises, so does your motivation to act. So we need to make our habit attractive because it is the expectation of a rewarding experience that motivates us in the first place. This is where a strategy known as temptation bundling comes into play. And the best way to describe it is to do something you don't want to do with something you like doing. For example, when I don't want to read about some classical music, and you can even combine habit stacking with temptation bundling. After current habit, I will habit I need. For example, after brushing my teeth, need, I'll read. After reading, I will check my phone. 1. And of course, the inversion of the second law is to make it unattractive. And a good way of doing that is by highlighting the benefits of avoiding a bad habit. Because the cause of your habits is actually the prediction that precedes them. The prediction leads to a feeling. That's why habits are attractive when we associate them with positive feelings, and unattractive when we associate them with negative feelings. You can, for example, do 50 push-ups every time you watch porn. The third law, make it easy. Our mind doesn't measure habits by time, but in how many times we did that habit. A good way to make a habit easy is by designing the environment to reduce the friction of desired behavior, to make future actions easy. Example, want to draw more? Put pencil and the drawing tools on the desk within your reach. And there is a rule when starting a new habit, is that a habit should take less than 2 minutes, because when you start a new habit, we always want to make it perfect and end up not doing it at all. You should always standardize before you optimize. You can't improve a habit that doesn't exist. And now we've started the habit, we need to make it satisfying. The first law, because pleasure teaches your brain that a behavior is worth remembering and repeating. Let's take chewing gum for example. Chewing gum had been sold commercially in the 1800s, but it wasn't until Wrigley launched in 1891 that it became a worldwide habit. At first, it was chewy, not tasty. Wrigley revolutionized the product by adding flavors and made the product fun and satisfying. Stories like this are evidence of the cardinal rule of behavior change. What is rewarded is repeated, what is punished is avoided, and most goals are long-term rewarding. That's why we fail to repeat them, and that's why you need to feel immediately successful, even if it's in a small way. Habit tracking is great for stuff like that because it provides clear evidence of your progress, and it's very simple. You get a calendar, whether on your phone or on paper, and cross off each day you stick with your routine. For example, if you work out Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday, each of those dates gets an X, and as time goes by, your calendar becomes a record of your habits streak. And of course, the inversion of the fourth law, behavior change, is to make it unsatisfying. A good way of doing that is to have an accountability partner, which can create an immediate cost by education, because we care deeply about what others think of us, and we do not want others to have a lesser opinion of us. And that's why getting a friend that shares the same bad habits and you two agree on a punishment that you do when you do the bad habit. For example, every time you don't work out, you are not allowed to use social media. But if you want to rely on punishment, you need to make sure that punishment suits the mistake, or otherwise you're not doing it. Quick recap, make it obvious by using the habit scorecard, implementation intention, and habit stacking. Make it attractive by temptation bundling. Make it easy by doing a new habit, only 2 minutes. Make it satisfying by using habit tracking. In conclusion, reaching success by starting the new good habits is not a goal to reach or a finish line to cross. It's a system to improve and endless process to refine.